Comparison is a significant problem, and it is a great tool of indifference. It's been repeatedly recounted that it is a destructive thing to do comparison. However, that is an incomplete statement and a half-baked observation. Alright, enough philosophy. You see that guy walking around your block with an amoral constitution, saggy trousers, and an oversized shirt? Oh yeah, I bet you do. He's not even a 7, but he has all the beautiful chicks. And you, let's say you've been an observer. You've been called a 9, a handsome dude as described by many, but we can on one hand count the girls that you've been with. And out of the 3 you've dated, none. To compare is to say that you are doing something wrong. And my friend, you are. 7 things that you shouldn't do as a handsome man when you are with women. Let's dive into it. Assume privileged. Being a handsome stud and having a privileged mindset is like yin and yang. If you can be attractive but take away the elite mindset, I can promise you success with girls. I was like you. I used to hang around a lot of ladies, and they loved coming around. But rumors started flying around I was a jerk, wasn't a good person, very self-absorbed. And I lost a lot of girls to this complaint. But I could care less. After all, they kept coming. But I never had any deep relationships with anybody. The problem was deep and not outward. So I started observing them girls when I lost a beautiful and intelligent girl to a guy who was barely 5. I think the script meant to say barely a 5, so I discovered their complaints were the same and built around my act. I self-contemplated, and the truth is, we handsome dudes feel entitled when we converse with women. You don't have to do as much work as the less beautiful guys. We don't care about her feelings. I used to say, she loves me and is busy pretending. Let's believe that ladies drool over our beauty. And I was without empathy. There was no need to establish any genuine connection, which was crucial in any reaction. So please, don't assume your handsomeness automatically scores you a chance with her. It will backfire, and another guy below you will take her away. Disregard for boundaries. Handsome guys are known for their primitive disregard for boundaries. I know this because, again, I was one. I heard a story of a guy who shook the breast of a lady instead of her hand. Yeah, I wish I were making that up. His beauty is very much renowned. Quite fair he was, but that didn't stop his reputation from being ruined. Regardless of beauty, the essence of personal boundaries must and cannot be disregarded. Don't grab a tit just because you think that she loves you. And when that conclusion emanates from your prideful judgment, you know you've gone wrong. People die for boundaries. Countries go to war because of it. So I want you to understand it doesn't matter if she's not your type. Keep your hands to yourself and mind what you say. As you converse with that beautiful lady, I want you to see yourself as an equal. Whatever you do should and must be with her consent. These boundaries are not bound to touch or whatever you say. I expect you to respect her emotions. Every facet of her must be respected. You've got to understand that women love their space, and if they want you to enter, they will let you know. The disposition I started taking when I discussed with ladies is how I would feel if I were her. I want you to remember that she's a lady. Consider or imagine and maintain that you are viewed from the lens of a male. Imagine she doesn't see your beauty or anything else about you. Because I can promise you that your possibilities will skyrocket because that will contribute to humility. Don't objectify her. How dare you treat a woman as a tool? I used to objectify women, especially the beautiful ones, and trust me, doesn't end well. Most times when these ladies walked away, they cursed me and they said I was cold. It didn't matter, but after these ladies met guys who didn't objectify them, I began to admire them. I loved them. I grew infatuated. That possibility had died out. According to Gerald from the movie Silicon Valley, he advocates that you admit that he's human. And that is the secret, my friend. Treat that very beautiful lady, as I've said, like a human being. Which I should hope I didn't have to tell you that. And when you do, you will see them differently. She's not furniture. You're not just going to be concerned with how she looks, but how she's doing. Which, again, I really feel like I shouldn't have to say any of this, but here we are. Not objectifying her is not only basic common sense, but it does help you connect on a deeper level. You'll know how she feels, and what she cares about. So, don't objectify yourself, don't objectify her, don't objectify anybody. Don't objectify. Simple as that, it's pretty easy. Assume uniform preference. The conformists always deny the individual nature of man. The uniqueness of our being is tied to our character. When nonconformists yell in our ears, they want us to retain our individuality. I wasn't a conformist, and neither was I a nonconformist. I was living my life. And that was my disposition. Not an act, but what I always said. Understand that you can't be in the middle. There never has been a gray area. You lose each time you want to run in the middle. Now, that philosophy is the basis of the concept of uniform preference. I was a conformist in act, but nonconformist in words. And you know which matters. Actions speak louder than voice, says the wise one. I want you to be a nonconformist. Please view that chick as a unique beauty. I want you to see her differently from other women. I want you to understand that what makes her tick differs from the last person you met. I want you to understand. All ladies' preferences are not solely based on looks. Some women love intelligent guys. Others love well-built guys. So be a nonconformist and don't assume that you know what she wants. Ignoring communication. Price comes before a fall, says the excellent book. As a handsome dude, there's very little talking to do. I used to maintain that disposition. I was never talkative, and I'm still kind of that way. However, if you have to interact with anyone, male or female, you must talk. You must communicate. The purpose of communication is the cradle on which humanity rests. When we communicate, we learn, we know each other, we conclude on issues. And in this case, you have to know that chick. And when you speak with that lady, you'll know her. Avoiding or ignoring communication is a sign that you don't respect the person before you. When she's kind and respectable enough to say hi, the worst thing that you can do is remain silent. Communicating with her and having a respectable dialogue will in itself produce understanding. And when you do not, I repeat, do not throw out her points or opinion. All these little points establish a meaningful connection and the beginning of a long-lasting friendship. Neglecting personal development. It's one of the worst any handsome stud can be caught in. I'm attractive, but I never neglected personal development. I had a friend who, like me, was stunning. Good-looking. He groomed all the time. He had charisma. His way around the ladies was definitely a force to be reckoned with, but it lacked skills. It's sad to say that he's still single. And, as the good book says, beauty is fading. Beauty's not a skill. Whatever nature was pleasant enough to bless you with is not a skill. A child must eat to grow. And like a child, you must develop yourself to increase your value. Can you imagine how you'd look when handed a book to read and you can't? That's a worst-case scenario. How about you're nicely dressed and groomed and sharp, and you find yourself in a group of intellectuals and they start a conversation and you, well, you sound like a moron. It's embarrassing if you can picture it. Watch the movie Good Will Hunting. It's also profitable to develop yourself and be beautiful. The sum of beauty is not just the looks, but what lies inward. Playing into stereotypes. I understand it's good to be yourself, but I'll advise you remain yourself. I used to say this, but inward I had a meaning to it. It wasn't a genuine statement. I believed I was handsome and I was different from others. I walked differently. I spoke to a selected sect of people, the handsome ones. And when you fall into the stereotype, you put yourself in chains. Understand that the world is a vast plain, and so much can be learned and experienced. Freedom is the proper foundation for knowledge and experience. Allowing yourself to be swallowed by the societal perception of beauty or attractiveness will overshadow your other qualities. People can't benefit from your brilliance, and you will not learn from the perceived lower caste. Don't limit yourself. It is good to be handsome, to be attractive. But what use is a thing if it cannot be used? Let your handsomeness be an aid to you. Do not let it define you. Use the points in contemplation and fixing yourself. Click on the following video to end your futile attempts with women.